Good morning, children. We are once again back in the same chapter, that is biomolecules. In today's chapter, we are going to discuss some of the properties of proteins. Now, what we know, protein is a macromolecule, a biomolecule which is been made up of amino acids, right? And these amino acids are joined together simply by peptide bond that we have already discussed in the previous class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about this topic, denaturation of protein. What is the meaning of denaturation of protein? Destruction of protein. How does a protein gets destructed? Destruction of protein, or how does a protein gets destructed? So according to it, we know that the globular proteins which are soluble in water on heating or on treatment of mineral acid or bases undergo coagulation or precipitation to give fibrous proteins which are insoluble in water. After coagulation, proteins lose their biological activity, and this is called as denaturation. I'm repeating it once again, the globular proteins which are soluble in water. Now, these proteins which are water soluble, when they are being heated on treatment with mineral acids or bases, they undergo what is called as coagulation or precipitation to give fibrous proteins which are insoluble in water. After coagulation, proteins lose their biological activity. This is called as denaturation. Lose their biological activity. This is called as denaturation of the proteins. This is called as denaturation of the protein. So, after this coagulation, these proteins, they lose their biological activity. On losing their biological activity, that is called as denaturation of protein. It can be reversible, it can also be irreversible. But one thing we know, that the property of the protein is lost. Okay. Now the next thing we know, that coagulation of the lactalbumin to form cheese and coagulation albumin are examples of denaturation. You might have seen at your home when egg which contains albumin, which is highly proteinaceous in nature, when this albumin is exposed to high temperature, what happens is albumin actually condenses to form a solid form, and this solid form is called as the denaturation or the destruction of the protein. Another example is the lactalbumin to form cheese. Okay, these are present in milk. This lactalbumin, when it is being denatured at high temperature, it actually changes into cheese. These are the methods by which protein gets destroyed. Now the next part of the chapter, we are going to discuss classification of proteins. How is protein being classified? On the basis of composition, proteins are of these following types. They are simple protein, conjugated protein, derived protein, fibrous protein, and globular protein. So proteins are of these types, that is simple protein, conjugated protein, derived protein, fibrous proteins, and globular protein. Now the question comes, what is a simple protein? Simple proteins are those proteins which on hydrolysis they give only amino acid. If a protein on hydrolysis only gives amino acid, that is called as a simple protein. For example, we have a protein like globulin and albumin. We have a protein like globulin and albumin. These are examples of simple protein. These are examples of simple protein. These are examples of simple protein. See, simple proteins are those proteins which in hydrolysis gives only amino acids, and they are called as simple protein. Okay. So simple proteins are those proteins which in hydrolysis gives only amino acids. Examples, see, globulin and albumin. Albumin you have seen in egg. Now the next protein we have is conjugated protein. What is a conjugated protein? A conjugated protein is that protein, they contain a non-prosthetic group attached to the protein part. They contain non-prosthetic group attached to the protein part. Example, see, that is called as nucleoprotein, which contains nucleic acid. Phosphorus protein containing phosphoric acid, containing see, if a protein contains phosphoric acid apart from its normal amino acid, that is called as phosphoprotein. If a protein contains nucleic acid apart from protein, it is called as nucleoprotein. Then we have a next type of protein called as glycol protein, which contain carbohydrates attached with the protein. So a conjugated protein not only contains amino acid, but it contains some other groups, and these other groups are called as conjugated protein. Example of conjugated protein is called as glycol protein. Then we have phosphoprotein as well as nucleoprotein. After that, next one we have is derived protein. These are the degradation products obtained by the hydrolysis of simple and conjugated protein. These are the degradation products obtained by the hydrolysis of simple and conjugated protein. Example is peptides and peptones. So peptides and peptones are the examples of the derived proteins. So till now we have discussed three types of protein: simple protein, conjugated protein and derived protein. Simple protein is that protein which actually contains only amino acid. Conjugated proteins are those proteins which contain non-prosthetic group, and in case of derived proteins, these are those proteins which actually are obtained by the hydrolysis of simple conjugated protein. Next we have fibrous protein. What is a fibrous protein? A fibrous protein is a protein that are long and thread-like and tend to long and thread-like, and they tend to lie side by side to form fibers. In some cases they are held together by hydrogen bond at many points. In some of the cases they are bonded by hydrogen bond, and these proteins serve as the chief structural material of animal tissue. See, they are the chief structural units of the animal tissue. So once again I'm discussing with you, fibrous proteins are those proteins. Fibrous proteins are those proteins. See, they are long and thread-like, and they are made up of fibers, and they tend to lie side by side to form fibers. In some of the cases they are held together by hydrogen bond. As we know that in fibrous proteins they are held together by hydrogen bond. Okay, and these proteins, they serve as the chief structural material of animal tissues. So fibrous proteins serve as the chief structural unit of these animal tissues. After that we have the next one is globular protein. The molecules of these proteins are folded into compact units and they form spherical shapes. Intermolecular forces are weak. These proteins are soluble in water, aqueous solutions, or acids or bases or salts, and globular proteins are made up of enzymes, hormones and fibrinogens. So globular proteins are made up of hormones and fibrinogens. So these are the different 5 types of proteins, that is simple protein, conjugated protein, derived protein, fibrous proteins and globular protein. After that, see, we are going to discuss the functions of protein. After that we are going to discuss the functions of proteins. What are the functions of protein? See, the functions of protein is that they act as enzymes and transport agents. One important function of protein is that they act as transport agent as well as they act as enzymes. They are the structural materials for nails and hairs. They are the structural material for nails and hairs. Antibodies formed in body are globular proteins. They are metallic regulators like insulin. Okay, these are the important types of proteins. Okay, so what is first function? They act as enzymes and transport agents. They are the structural materials for nails. They are the structural materials for nails and hair. Next is they actually perform as antibodies in the body of the globular protein. So whenever external agent attacks a body, these are the proteins which act as antigens and they stop the attack of these external reagents, and they are metabolic regulators like insulin. Okay, so these are the important functions of proteins. See, after that, the next topic we are going to discuss is hydrolysis of protein. Hydrolysis of protein. Hydrolysis means that whenever a protein is subjected to water or acid or alkalis, okay, that is boiled in the presence of acid or alkali, or when treated with enzymes, the following type of reaction takes place. What is that? That is the breaking of the acid in the presence of water, and in the presence of acids or bases. This is called as hydrolysis of protein. Now, protein on hydrolysis gives us proteases, peptones, polypeptides, simple peptides. Ultimately, we get amino acids. What are the product? Now, proteins on hydrolysis, first of all, they give us proteases. Then from the proteases, we get peptones. From the peptones, we get the polypeptides, and from these polypeptides, we get the simple peptides, and from simple peptides, we get the amino acid. These are the various steps of the hydrolysis of a protein. Now, another important thing, we know that every protein has an isoelectric point at which their ionization is minimum. So each protein has an isoelectric point at which the ionization is minimum, and the proteins have charge group, that is, they have either NH2 group or NH3 plus, or they have the COO minus group at the ends of the peptide chains. What we know, that proteins are generally amphoteric in nature. Why amphoteric? They contain both the acidic as well as the basic group. The protein accepts a proton in a strong basic solution. The pH at which the protein molecule has no net charge is known as isoelectric point. The pH at which the protein molecule has no net charge is known as the isoelectric point. So what is the isoelectric point? Isoelectric point is that it is that specific pH in which the protein molecule has no net charge is known as the isoelectric point of that protein. So that was in a nutshell the study of protein. In this, we have discussed about types of protein, denaturation of protein, classification of proteins, hydrolysis of proteins, and what are the ultimate products that we obtain from a protein on hydrolysis. After that, we are going to discuss about enzymes. What are enzymes? Enzymes are called as biological catalysts. Now the question is, what are catalysts? Catalysts are those chemical substances which actually enhances a reaction to take place fast. Or these are those chemical substances which increases or decreases the rate of a chemical reaction without itself being reacted, okay, or without itself being involved. Now, chemically, all enzymes are globular proteins. So chemically, what we know, that all these enzymes, they are actually globular proteins. Chemically, all these, they are globular proteins, okay. Now, some important enzymes and their functions that we are going to discuss. See, the first enzymes we have is lactase. Now, what is the function of lactase? Function of lactase is that it converts lactose into glucose and galactose. Next is invertase. Function of invertase, it converts sucrose and glucose and fructose. Then we have maltase that convert maltose to glucose, 2 molecules of glucose. Then we have emulsion, which converts cellulose and glucose. Then you have urease, that is which convert urea and carbon dioxide and water. That is, urease is that catalyst, which are enzymes which acts on urea and converts it into carbon dioxide and water. So these are the different functions. As you could see, that each of these, that each of these enzymes have a specific functions to perform. That is, each enzymes have one specific function, and each enzyme is specific for that specific function. Actually, you cannot change their function. You cannot change their function abruptly. That is, each enzyme is specific for a specific function. And many more. Some industrial enzyme invertase and zymase are present in yeast. Enzyme diastase is used as converting starch to maltose sugar. The names of all enzymes end with the ase. So one important characteristic feature of enzyme is that name of an enzyme ends with the word ase. So as you could see, lactase because it acts over lactose, invertase because it is inverting a sucrose into a molecule of glucose and fructose, maltase, it is acting on maltose to convert into two molecules of glucose. Next we have emulsion, that is convert cellulose and glucose. Next we have urease, that convert urea, carbon dioxide and water, that will convert urea into carbon dioxide and water. Okay, these are the different functions of enzyme, and as I could see that their name ends with the ase. What is the meaning of the ase? Ase means, that is, this is how the function of enzyme is been declared. Now see, properties of enzymes. Next we are going to discuss the properties of enzymes. The properties of enzymes are as follows. What are those? Each of the enzymes are required only in small amount. See, requirement of an enzyme is in small amount. We cannot use large amount of enzyme. They are highly specific. What is the meaning of highly specific? Highly specific means they function in a specific medium. They function on a specific substrate. If you change the substrate, what will happen? That function will not occur. If I change the enzyme, that substrate will not show that type of function. Okay. They are highly specific in nature. Enzymes are efficient catalysts. They speed up a reaction. So the function of an enzyme is to that they speed up a reaction. That in this case, what we know, that whenever the substrate is there, the enzyme acts on the substrate, changes in the corresponding product. Okay. Next, they work as optimum pH and optimum temperature. So what we know, that they work at optimum pH as well as optimum temperature. If you vary the temperature, what will happen? The reaction of the enzyme will come to an end. If I change the pH, what will happen? The reaction of that enzyme will not be there. Now the mechanism is controlled by various mechanisms and stopped by various organic and so if a enzyme is there, if I add something acidic or something basic, if the change in pH is there, what will happen? That enzyme will not function. If I change the temperature, that enzyme function will stop. Now the action of enzymes follows the lock and the key mechanism. What is the lock and the key mechanism? As we know, a specific key is for a specific lock. In this case also we just know that each specific enzyme is for a specific substrate. If you change the enzyme, change the substrate, the whole function actually changes. Okay. However, enzyme action is inhibited by certain organic molecules called inhibitors. However, enzyme action inhibited by certain organic molecules called as inhibitor. Okay. These are actually the functions of enzymes. So enzymes, I'm repeating it once again, enzymes are required in very small amount. They are highly specific in their nature. Enzymes are efficient catalysts. They speed up the reaction. That is, a function of enzyme is to enhance the reaction so that the reaction takes place completely. Now they work at optimum pH, optimum temperature. Their mechanism is controlled by various mechanisms and stored by various organic and inorganic compounds. The action of enzymes follows the lock and the key mechanism. However, enzyme action inhibited by certain organic molecules and they are called as inhibitors. So that was all about the study of enzymes. That was all about the study of enzymes. Okay. So in this chapter, what we have till now discussed, we have discussed different types of enzymes, functions of enzymes, and what are the properties of enzymes. As the temperature variations takes place, what happens? Enzyme action also changes. Okay, children, That was all about this chapter. Thank you.